r/AskReddit by Reddit and chill. What is normal in your country but seems weird to the rest of the world? Calling a traffic light a robot. South Africa? I moved to Namibia from Canada years ago and people kept saying just head to the top of the hill and turn left at the robots. It took me about 3 months to stop looking for weird robot signs or statues. Cause that's what I figured they were getting at. Golden Gate time. Okay. You're going to have to explain. Eating with our hands. In 1969, the same year the man landed on the moon, Miss Gloria Diaz coveted the Philippines' first Miss Universe crown. During the preliminary Q&A, she was asked, "Is it true that you Filipinos use your hand when you eat?" To which she replied, "Why? Do you use your feet?" and went her way to winning the crown. Edit. Removed misleading link. Edit 2. Shout out to Indian commenters who eat with their hands. 2. And people from other Southeast Asian countries and the Middle East. This isn't limited to the Philippines. People, especially those of Indian descent, eat with their hands in Malaysia. And it's also extremely common in Saudi Arabia as well. Putting broken glass bottles on the walls around your house so burglars can't jump it and rob you. I moved to Canada and they don't even have walls around the houses. All of Latin America. Our wildlife is not trying to kill us. Edit. Magpies accepted. I'm fairly sure geese are at the very least plotting. Bagged milk. I know it's normal in some places but not here in the UK. Interestingly, businesses must have caught up with it as every single Costa I've been to has milk in bags. Our wildlife is not trying to kill us. Edit. Magpies accepted. I'm fairly sure geese are at the very least plotting. Bagged milk. I know it's normal in some places but not here in the UK. Interestingly, businesses must have caught up with it as every single Costa I've been to has milk in bags. Calling them all chips. Not crisps. Hot chips or anything else. Just chips. Vegemite. 90% of this entire thread is Australia New Zealand commenting. Eating biscuits and gravy. I travelled to the UK and told them that biscuits and gravy is a very common breakfast food, and as you would expect they were highly confused. Biscuit equals cookie across the pond. Why we would take something sweet and cover it in gravy. Tax not included in advertised price. Yeah. I find this so weird. We have matrimonial ads in newspapers and sites to find grooms and brides, which I think don't happen in Western countries, and they find it strange. The ads are mostly published by parents. It's like Tinder supervised by parents. Tasmanians also got the shit end of that stick. India? Strangers sitting totally naked skin to skin in a steamy room heated to +80 to +100°C. And us having competitions on who can last the longest in there. And as a consequence of that, having seen 90% of my friends naked, regardless of gender. Deep fried Mars bar. Edit. I'm from New Zealand. For those asking. These are usually sold in fish and chip shops. And Oreos. And cheesecake. And butter. And beer. And Snickers. Edit. Sorry to say guys. But I'm not from NZ. I'm from Texas. I could never get used to this when I lived in Ontario. I'm British. Dreaded each trip to the checkout because I'd never quite know how much I'd be spending. In university we thumped the tables to applaud our professors. Instead of actually applauding. Or doing nothing. During my exchange semester everyone not from Germany was looking at me confused why I did this. In my country we don't applaud our professors. At least not in the one I go to. It has only happened once. When the lecture was especially interesting and professionally done. India. Strangers sitting totally naked skin to skin in a steamy room heated to +80 to +100°C. And us having competitions on who can last the longest in there. And as a consequence of that, having seen 90% of my friends naked, regardless of gender. Legal drinking age of beer and wine is 16. Australia? My Aussie flatmate always used to say 1 before 10 or 10 before 1. Sprinkles on buttered bread is made by fairies and is perfect for kids' parties. And anything negative said about said treat is sacrilegious. A gel slag is still my favorite childhood school vacation memory. A short while ago they stopped selling alcohol after 10 p.m. At some stores you couldn't even get non-alcoholic beer. What's weird though is that wine is not considered alcoholic drink, so you can buy it anytime. Welcome to Moldova. Row. Such gold. Much thanks. A barista in a Costa years ago spent far too long telling me about the sheer joy that is a deep fried creme egg. I hadn't asked. In certain US states you can't buy any alcohol in stores after 8 p.m. or on Sundays. Putting chips in our burgers. Edit. I'm referring to the British version. Fries in America but fatter. I know it isn't the same, but we are occasionally known to line up French fries in our burgers here too. Washing your butthole after taking a crap. Where I lived in Copenhagen, there was a nursery school in the same building. The windows to the room where the children napped were just round portholes without glass. It's considered that important for napping babies to be exposed to the fresh air. There was a great thing to prevent people crawling in or out the windows. This was a modern building from this century. My friend would put her baby into her snowsuit and then place the baby in the fleece-lined pram. Then a down blanket, a pram cover, and a hat. Ciao consider dinner Italico. Cheese curds and gravy over fries. Canada isn't real. A magical land covered in Christmas where everyone is nice and syrup literally falls from the trees. Like that's a real place. Nobody eats cheese curds. Fries and gravy. Blood pudding and fermented fish. Finland? Sweden? Marrying someone without knowing them and only seeing their face once the marriage is agreed on. I don't know why, but teenagers from my place, Vietnam, like to put hot sauce on everything. Like pizzas, chips, French fries, spaghetti, rice, cakes, hamburgers, anything you can think of. My husband was Vietnamese this whole time. Being middle class with a property having a 6-foot wall, electric fencing linked to an alarm, automated gate and garage doors with security clamps over the gate motor to prevent theft of the motor, security gates over every door, burglar bars, and a house alarm system with infrared sensors linked to armed response with a reaction time of under 3-4 minutes. Georgia, the US state, just revised the law to allow alcohol purchases in grocery stores only after 12:30 p.m. on Sundays. In restaurants, only after 11 a.m. on Sundays. It used to be not long ago no purchases on Sundays in the state. Heck. South Africa? I'm from the USA and my girlfriend is from Singapore. The amount of pumpkin shit we consume practically frightens her. Can confirm. Wife is inhaling all the pumpkin things. Having spaghetti in McDonald's. I'm trying to bring this worldwide. Pharmaceutical commercials. This could only be the US. Right? I'm from the UK. And the idea of adverts for anything but things like over-the-counter cough medicine or other non-essential medication seems absolutely bizarre. Do you go to the doctors and say, well, I've heard about this great X medicine and I'd like to try it for my X problem. Can you write me a prescription? How does it even work? Over here I just tell the doctor my issue and they decide which medication I get. Which almost always will be a generic and branded one. I pay the £9 prescription charge and off I go. Yup. And it's something that can happen on a building by building basis. 1840s house made into a pub? Paper bin. Because the old pipes can't handle the paper. Modern office building next door. Plumbing designed for 50 blokes pooping on company time. Cheese curds and gravy over fries. Canada isn't real. A magical land covered in Christmas where everyone is nice and syrup literally falls from the trees. Like that's a real place. Nobody eats cheese curds. Fries and gravy. A teeny tiny nation with at least 50 different accents. Living with your parents is praised a lot, but getting your own place or moving with your spouse still looked weird as an act. Until recently. No women drivers. Eating pasta every day I think. Yes, I am Italian. Ducking like and subscribe.